Everybody at Marvel loves music. It's embraced, it's featured, it's celebrated, and that's why I love working there so much. I'm Laura Karpman, and I composed the music for the Marvels. I don't know anything about music. I just fell into this one day, and then they hired me. It's so weird. No. Okay. I've always been a composer. I started writing music when I was 7 years old. It was always my passion, my dream, my daily practice. It just is really who I am. I spent my childhood and my young adulthood studying music really hard. I got a master's and a doctorate at the Juilliard School. I've been doing this for a while now, but actually scoring the Marvels and having the palette that I had and having the orchestra, I realized that in some ways, even though I didn't know it, it had been my dream all along. Having always been the only woman in a room, it took me a long time to realize that not having the kind of the large scale stuff, it was not my doing, it was just institutionalized sexism, it was everywhere. The fact that it kind of opened up suddenly through a lot of hard work, and advocacy that I myself did as well as others. In terms of Marvel stuff, I had done What If, which is an animated project for Disney+. Scoring What If is like going to Marvel College, learning storylines, learning about all the music of the MCU. And then I did Ms. Marvel too, which in many ways is one of the prequels for this. The Marvels is the culmination of many, many years of studying, of learning, and finally having the opportunity to do something really big and really fabulous. The funny thing about the MCU is that in this kind of crazy way, it comes very much out of classical music thinking for me. This idea of having a germ of a theme, that comes from classical music. That comes from Wagner. Also this idea of a large orchestra. I think that works super well for the MCU. Oh my God, how would I describe the score for the Marvels? The very first thing is the theme. You have to have a theme that's recognizable, that hopefully Kevin Feige whistles after a screening. When I heard him whistle the theme, I knew I was good. I love the director of the Marvels, Nia DaCosta. She was super clear in terms of what she wanted in a theme. I threw ideas at her the whole time. It was a truly collaborative process the whole way. I would work with her again in a heartbeat. A Marvel theme has to go through tremendous dramatic pacing. You've got to be able to have it in heroic fashion. It has to work for action. It has to work for something that's very emotional. If you're dealing with people flying, you want to think about literally upward movement. So the theme, which goes da 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 da, ya da ya da da. So literally, you get the feeling of lifting off from the ground and going into space. I played with the orchestra an awful lot. It was a lot of French horns, and I felt like I needed every single one of them. Peter Cobbin and Kirsty Whaley are the sound engineers, and I said to Peter, "What's the maximum?" He said, 12's a good number. I said, 12 it is. The French horn has a massive register. In other words, it can go from really low to quite high. And so a lot of what you hear in a lot of action music is high French horn. A lot of times you don't hear them down in their basement. So if you have that many, of course, you can parse them out in different places. These scores have a really diverse palette musically. In this film, we visit a lot of different planets that have very, very different kind of musical sounds. The idea was to get singers from every conceivable musical tradition. So people should not blend in a traditional choral way, but sing the music of their various vocal traditions. At the beginning of the film, Carol's lonely. Her life is not working at all. And so the beginning actually starts with that theme, very broken. They never quite hit together, right? Da, ba, 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 ba. It's like fractured. And you hear the theme first presented by a viola, which is not typically thought of as a superhero instrument. It's got an unusual, almost mournful, plaintive sound. And then there's the family theme, which is the theme for the chosen family. The three of them created a family because their powers are intertwined. I felt like they needed a theme to show the warmth, but also the distances. There's this simple repeated da 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 da, and then there's kind of a lovely theme sitting on top of it, da da ya da da dee, ya da 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 da, which is a sad but I think warm theme, and I think that works for them. The movie is about these three characters learning to work together and then solving a problem. This is what it is that I do. I mean, I have a fantastic, well, it's really a three-person team of my wife and our associate Amelia. We work together and we solve problems here all day, every day, the most delightful musical problems. Frankly, this idea of breaking down musical boundaries, like between jazz, between hip hop and rap and opera, that's always been something that I played with in my work. I just like doing that. I don't see stylistic parameters. I think for me, it's like, it's all a beautiful melting pot of musical traditions, and I pick whatever feels right for the moment.